Hi there, welcome back to the channel, and in this video we are going to discuss the basics of directives in Angular. So we are going to understand what is directives and what are the importance of directives, and we are going to discuss different types of directives in Angular. So I am here at angular.io, the official website by Angular. Now I'm going to the doc section out here, and let me click inside this directives. So here inside this directives, let me click this built-in directives. So let us discuss what is directives. So directives are basically some extra classes or properties that which when we add to the Angular elements, it gives us some additional behavior which we can do it dynamically. So if we want to add some dynamic behavior to our Angular components or elements, and at that moment of time we use directives. So mainly we have two different types of directives in Angular. The first one is attribute directives and the other one is structural directives. So attribute directives helps us to change the appearance of Angular elements. So let's just say we have a button out here, and whenever user clicks on that button, I want to change the color of that button. So I want to add a class dynamically to this button. So in order to do that, we can use attribute directives. So for that, we have attribute directives like ngClass, ngStyle. So we'll discuss those attribute directives out here. So let me go inside the VS Code, and as you can see, here we have this template file, that is HTML file, and I have the TypeScript file out here. So this is the TypeScript file where we'll be writing the logic part of the application. So if you know the basics of Angular, then you know that much that we separate HTML and TypeScript file completely differently. So here we just write the view part, that is the HTML part, and here we write the logic of the code. So this is like the controller of the application. So as I discuss out here, so I have a button, and whenever user clicks on that button, I want to add the different styling to that button. Let's just say I want to change the background color of that button. So how can we do that? We can do that using attribute classes. So let us do that, and then let's understand the attribute directives in Angular. So firstly, I'm creating a button out here, and then I'm writing click me here, and then now let me create a CSS class out here. So I'm creating a class called black, and then here inside this class I want to add property called background color, which is going to be black itself, and here I'm going to add color property, which is going to be white. Okay, so this is the class black class which I have created. Now whenever user clicks on this button click me, I want to add this black class. So how can I do that? So in order to do that, I need to listen to the click event. So let me listen to the click event first out here. Now let me go to the TypeScript file, and here I'll be creating a variable called text click. That is the variable that I'm going to name, and then I'm going to assign a boolean value that is going to be false out here. And then let me copy this variable. Now let me go to the HTML file. Now whenever user clicks on this button, I'm going to change the value of this variable. So I'm going to toggle it out here. So now whenever user clicks on it, so the false is going to be true, and if it is true, it is going to be false out here. So whenever the value of this text click is true, at that moment of time, I want to assign this black class inside this button. So in order to do that, we need to use attribute directives. So inside attribute directives, we have different types of directives. So the most common are ngClass and ngStyle. So let me start with ngClass directive first, and then I'm going to move inside the ngStyle directives as well. So I need to write square bracket, and then I need to hit this ngClass. So we write directives inside the square bracket only, and this is how we are going to add classes dynamically inside the Angular component. So firstly, I need to name the class that I want to add inside this button. So the name of the class is black, as you all know I have created out here. Now this is the class that I want to add, but when do I want to add? I want to add this black class dynamically, right? I don't want to add it every time. So I need to give that condition. When should I add this black class? So that condition is going to be text click itself. So whenever this value text click is true, at that moment of time I want to add this black class. And one more thing I need to do is I need to wrap this inside the curly braces. So let me remove it out here, and then let me put it. So I need to put these values like a object out here, and then here I can add different classes. Let's just say I want to add a blue class, right, whenever the value is false. So that also I can do it. So I can add different classes by giving different conditions out here. Now let me go to the browser. So my app is already up and running. Now let me refresh it. Now let me click. So as you can see, the button style is being changed out here. Now the background color is black. Now let me click it. Now it is setting it to its default styling out here. So this is how we add classes dynamically in Angular using this ngClass attribute. Now we have one more attribute, that is ngStyle, that we are going to discuss. So let's just say I want to increase the font size of this click me. So that I can do using ngStyle attribute, which comes under the attribute directive itself. So let me write ngStyle out here. So this is the directive that we are going to use to inject styling or the CSS inside this button element. So let me come to this TypeScript file out here, and then let me write font size as a variable, and I'm going to write 20. So I'm going to assign the value 20. That means I want to assign 20 pixel to be the font size. So how can I do that? So let me come inside this ngStyle, okay, and then again let me start with curly braces, and I'm going to write the name of the property that I want to give. So that is going to be font size. So I'm going to write in that way, and then so I'm going to assign that value or the variable which I have created, that is font size. So this is the variable font size which is being assigned value 20. So here, but we also need to give pixel. So I need to add px out here. Since I cannot add it here, so I can do here. So I can just give property, that is font size dot, so what value I want, ram px. So I want pixel, so I'm just giving the px value. So this way I'm assigning font size, and then the font size value is coming from the logic part out here. So it's 20, and then I'm assigning the pixel value. So that's why I'm writing dot pix. Now let me come here and then see the font size value is increased. So I can increase more, and then like let me make it 30, and let me come up here, and now the value is being increased again. So let me go up here, and then let me make its original value, that is 20. So this is how I'm adding styling to the Angular components using ngStyle directive. So ngClass and ngStyle, so these are these two directives which comes under attribute directives in Angular. Now we have another kind of directives called structural directives in Angular. So here you can see there are mainly two directives in Angular. The first one is attribute, and in attribute there are different kinds of directives like ngStyle and ngClasses. We have discussed two of them. Now let us go to the structural directives and understand what is structural directives in Angular. So basically structural directives are those directives which helps to change the layout of the HTML page by adding some element inside the DOM or by removing some element. Let's just say I want to add a p tag whenever a button is clicked, and then inside this paragraph tag I want to insert a text called button is clicked. So I'm adding a p tag, right, whenever the button is clicked. That means I'm adding an extra layout. So that can be done using structural directives, and we have different kinds of structural directives called ngIf, ngFor, etc. So here we are going to discuss mainly two structural directives. That first is going to be ngIf, where we are going to add a paragraphs whenever user clicks on a button, and then another one is ngFor, where we are going to loop a certain value. So let's start with ngIf directives. So let me go to the VS Code. Now in order to start with structural directives, we need to know something called ngTemplate. Now what is ngTemplate? So let me just write it out here. So this is how we write ngTemplate. So ngTemplate is something which helps us to wrap the element that which we want to bring under the structural directive. Let's just say I'm having a paragraph, and then here it is saying button is clicked. So I'm just writing out here. So button is clicked. Now I just want to display this paragraph whenever this button is clicked, right? So I want to display this paragraph dynamically. That means I'll be using structural directives out there. So whenever we are using structural directives, so we need to wrap all this element inside the ng template itself. And now I can simply go inside the ng template, and then I can write a structural directives called ngIf. Okay, so it is going to be ngIf. And when I want to display this button is clicked, so whenever this button is clicked, so that we can identify using this text click value. So I'm going to say ngF, and I'm just going to write text click out here. So whenever this text click becomes true, that means whenever the button is clicked, the value of text click becomes true, and then at that moment of time button is clicked, this paragraph is going to show out here. So let me go inside the browser, and then let me refresh this one more time. Now I'm going to click this button, and as you can see, button is clicked out here. So let me click one more time, and then the paragraph is disappeared right now. So let me click again, and then we can see that button is clicked. So here we are adding an element inside the DOM dynamically. We are adding an element inside the DOM to when a certain condition is matched, and whenever a certain condition is mismatched, we are removing that element from the DOM. So that can be done using ngIf directives. So these type of directives are called structural directives, because these type of directives are changing the structure of the HTML template. Now we have a shortened way of doing that, so it is going to be too lengthy, like writing a ng template wrapper, and inside there we are wrapping all those elements out here. So we can do this using a shortened way. So let me comment this out here, and what can I do is I can just copy this paragraph out here, button is clicked, and then let me come down here, and instead of writing this ng template, I'm just going to give this asterisk sign or the star sign, and then I'm just going to say ngIf out here, and I'm going to give this condition, that is text click. So even if I do that much, then it is going to work, and this is going to add this ng template dynamically. It is going to wrap it out here, so I can show that. So let me uncomment it first, and then like first one, this is I'm going to write button is click inside wrapper. So I'm just going to name it out here. So I just misspelled inside out here, so it is going to be inside wrapper, and this one is going to be outside wrapper out here. So let me save this, and let me go to the browser. Here it's refreshing for me. Now let me click to the button, and then you can see button is click inside wrapper and button is click outside wrapper. So both are working. So this is a shortened way of doing this. Angular adds this ng templates automatically for us. We don't need to do that. So I can prove you that. So let me go to the browser, and now I'm opening my developer tool out here, and then let me go to the element section here. So I'm opening this app root out here, and I'm opening this container, and you can see this ng binding here, right? So it is true. So both the condition are true, and that's why it is adding this paragraph. Button is click inside wrapper and button is click outside wrapper. So let me click this button one more time, and you can see the paragraph tag or the p tag is being removed from both the side, and we have this ng binding commented out here. So both ways work. Here in the second way, we haven't added ng template wrapper, so Angular is automatically adding for us. So once I click it, so it is adding that p tag for us. So this is how ngIf directive works. Now let us discuss another directive, that is ngFor in Angular. So let me create an array for it. So I'm going to create an array called to-dos. Okay, and here I'm going to write different kind of to do. So here the first one is, let's say it is going to be go to gym. Okay, and then the second one, let's say I'm going to write learn Angular. Okay, and the third is I'm going to say, let me write learn React.js. Okay, so these are the three to dos. So I want to loop these values, and I want to show inside this template. So how can I do that? So I can do that using ngFor structural directives. So what can I do is, let me create a paragraph tag out here, and then here I'm going to simply write asterisk, and then I'm going to say ngFor out here. Okay, and then here I'm just going to loop it out saying by let to do, and then I'm going to say of to dos. So I just need to write this statement and then it is going to loop. So this is the to dos array that I have created, and then I'm saying let to do of to dos. That means it is going to loop through each to do element. Okay, just it's like a map function that you can see in your JavaScript. So it is similar to that only. Now I'm going to log is one of the to do out here. So I'm just going to say to do, and then now if I do that, now let me go to the browser and let me refresh. So it's auto refreshing, and as you can see all the list item are being listed out here. Go to gym, learn Angular, learn React.js, etc. Now we can also assign index to it. Here I just need to write let I equals to index, then we are going to get the index of every element out there, and then I'm just going to write I here. Okay, so let me remove this, and then I just can write I here, and then I'm just getting the index. Okay, it's still showing me error because I need to add this invitation comma out here. Now let me save. Now it is also giving me the index of every element that is present inside this to dos array. So let me go in the browser here, and then you can see I'm logging with the index that is 0, 1 and 2. So like I can do +1, add an expression out here, and then now it is going to give me a list of 1, 2, 3. Okay, it's refreshing. Now it is giving me 1, 2, 3. So you can see these are the most common directives that we use in Angular, and I hope you understood what are directives in Angular, how to use it and when to use it. So if you like this video and if you understood what are directives, then please hit that like button and subscribe to this channel. I'll come up again with some amazing videos next time.